Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to lecture number 2 for Health 10. Gonna wrap up a little bit of chapter 5 here and talk a little bit about dietary supplements today. You also have an assignment that is going to be due on Friday as well, and that is you need to read the vitamins and minerals article that I included in the assignment, and then you need to use that Google Doc and summarize each heading. So underneath each heading, right, there's a couple of paragraphs. You need to summarize that in like 2 to 3 sentences, just so I know that you're getting the main point of this article about why vitamins or minerals are healthy. And if there's any concerns about taking, extra vitamins or minerals, whether it's a vitamin supplement, a multivitamin, something like that. So take some time, read that article, give me a little summary. But today we are talking about dietary supplements and why for some people they're good and for some people they're very dangerous and bad. So let's get to it. Again, as always, make sure that you are following along in that quiz and answering some or those 5 questions. There's also going to be a YouTube video attached to this assignment as well that I want you to watch, because one of the questions is going to deal with that. So dietary supplements, there are more than 25,000 dietary supplements available in the United States. Remember that number, because we're going to come back to it here in a second when we talk about how they're regulated. So a dietary supplement typically provides you 1 or more of the 40 essential nutrients or non-essential vitamins, minerals, enzymes, amino acids, herbs, hormones, nucleic acids, pretty much anything. When we talk about dietary supplements, some of the typical ones that we think of all the time are like protein, right? So you're taking a protein shake, whether it's whey, casein, whatever, but protein is a typical supplement. Caffeine is a very typical supplement that we think of a lot, whether it's guys taking or girls taking pre-workout. We'll talk about how dangerous that is here in a second, or coffee, right? Coffee is a dietary supplement. Other dietary supplements might be things like calcium, iron. Some people take things like echinacea, St. John's wort, some of these other sort of like herbs that we've seen be successful and help you, whether it's St. John's wort treats depression, things like that. So the reality of the situation, though, is that if you eat a very normal standard diet, meaning that you're not a vegetarian, you're not a vegan, you're not eating just fast food all the time, if you eat just a normal diet, you likely don't ever need to take any sort of dietary supplement, even if you're an athlete, right? We get enough protein, things like that in our regular diet that you don't necessarily need to take a dietary supplement. So some people who might need a dietary supplement are people who tend to skip meals or eat a lot of processed or fast food. People who consume an unusual or low calorie diet for weight loss because they're not eating enough, they may need to take like a multivitamin or a supplement for that. People who consume nutritionally inadequate diets for reason of economic hardship. So like people who maybe they don't have enough money to buy healthy foods. It might be cheaper for them to buy like a multivitamin, things like that. And then athletes who are concerned with their body size. Again, you don't necessarily need it, but some people do take them. So other people who consume large amounts of coffee or alcohol may need dietary supplement. Vegetarians absolutely need to take some dietary supplements. It is very hard to get B12 with a vegetarian or vegan diet. So they need to take a vitamin B12 supplement. In fact, if you're a vegetarian and you go to your doctor and tell them that, that's the first thing they're going to prescribe you or tell you that you need to take, is that you need to get a vitamin B12 supplement. People who are lactose intolerant, right? So if they are lactose intolerant, they're likely not getting enough calcium, because calcium comes in a lot of these products like milk, cheese, things like that, where you have lactase in it, and people are intolerant to that, so they need to take a calcium supplement. And then maybe most importantly, women who are of childbearing age, almost all of them do not eat enough folic acid or calcium. And not necessarily that you are going, obviously, if you're trying to have a baby, your doctor is going to tell you, hey, you need to take folic acid, calcium, things like that. You need to take a lot of people take like a hair and nails growth supplement, but that also has a lot of folic acid in it, so it's a good thing for you. But you need to take prenatal vitamins because if you do happen to get pregnant, you want your baby to be getting those, that folic acid, calcium, all those good things that are in that. So again, almost all, at least in Western society, all childbearing or women of childbearing age should be taking some of that folic acid and calcium, especially if you are trying to have a baby. So going back, right, there's at least 25,000 dietary supplements on the market. A lot of times they're going to be touted by like drug companies or by the company that makes them as like a preventative. They're going to be talked about like as a cure for all sorts of ails, aches, things like that. They might be touted as something that's going to help you lose weight, something that's going to help you gain muscle, help you be smarter, things like that. But unlike a prescription medication or even an over-the-counter medication that you have to get from a pharmacist, these dietary supplements do not have to be tested like at all. So some vitamins, there is like a testing authority out there that they do have to go through. But for the most part, any sort of dietary supplement does not have to be tested at all. And they can make claims about anything that they want. They can say that this is going to make you smarter, that this is going to help you to lose weight. But there's no science to back it up. So any protein powder, any shake, any pill, there's so much stuff on the market. Like even if you go to Walmart, right, you can find all of these things that it's going to help you. There's no actual scientific research. So I was just looking at something the other day that Joe Rogan talks about and like super makes you smart. And it increases your 1 rep max and your 3 rep max and all this stuff. And, so I dug into it. I looked into some of the studies that they did. So what they didn't tell you, so, it increases your 3 rep max. Well, the actual study that they did only included 22 college-aged males. Is that a good sample size? Not at all, right? So, and they pumped it up that it's going to increase your 1 rep max. But what they actually found was there was a slight increase in their bench max in people, but there was no increase in squat. Do they tell you that? No, they just gave you an overall like, hey, this increases your 1 rep max. So again, these companies are out there to make money. They're not necessarily out there to help you be healthy, right? So while they make these claims, a lot of times if you dig into it, it's not true. There's also harmful impurities. Ingredients may be added of which you are unaware. So there's no like regulation of what can be in it. So they can add all sorts of fillers. What they found is that especially with like protein powders, they oftentimes on like the front of the package, it'll say like 10 grams of protein per serving or 20 or whatever. Oftentimes when they actually tested it, what they found was that it was much, much lower. We're talking like some are saying that you're going to get 25 grams per serving. We're talking single digits on some of these. If you're going to take like a protein powder or something like that, you really need to dig in, do the research, find out, okay, a lot of these things have been tested individually by people. So you can find stuff out there. And some of these, there's harmful impurities added to them that, maybe you can get sick from. So again, when we talk about nutrition labels here, you want to look at that ingredient list and see what is in there. For a long time, we don't see them as much anymore for weight loss, but there was dietary supplements out there that people talked about that were, great ways to lose weight. Ephedrine or fen-phen, as it was called in the 90s, was like basically just a caffeine pill that people take that helped them lose weight, gave them tons of energy. But what happened was that people took it, they didn't take it correctly, and then they would take more. And what happened was that caffeine actually increased their heart rate so much that they were having heart attacks. And what we're seeing is we're not seeing people do that with weight loss, but we are seeing athletes have massive issues with similar situations. Young kids having heart attacks because they're taking things like NO Explode and C4 and these pre-workouts that really jack up your system and help you to or not help you, but they increase your heart rate. They can constrict your blood vessels. And we're seeing kids die because they're taking this. So you really need to be careful about what you are taking. And that's why I want you to watch that YouTube video that I've attached to this. It's a young kid who had too much caffeine, whether it was from energy drinks, whatever, and ended up dying. And you can search and find hundreds of videos of these adverse health effects of kids taking dietary supplements. So a couple of dietary supplements that we do know that have been scientifically tested to find it to be effective. So glucosamine can help with symptoms of arthritis. It can help if you're an athlete, your joints. Maybe if you're a runner and you're putting on tons of mileage. Glucosamine can help with your joints. Echinacea can enhance your immune functioning. Ginkgo biloba, we've seen help with some of the progression of forms of dementia. Omega-3 fatty acids, we hear about those a lot. Those can prevent heart disease and stroke. St. John's wort has been proven to relieve, I mean, it sounds gross, but been proven to relieve mild to moderate depression. There's a bunch of them. There's a comprehensive list there at the National Institute of Health at the bottom if you wanted to copy that and take a look. So again, that's what I have on dietary supplements. You really need to be careful. And again, if you eat a healthy diet, you don't need to take any dietary supplements, right? So that's what I got for this week. Make sure that you watch that YouTube video that I attached to this assignment. Make sure you fill out the quiz and then get that assignment in to me. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit about diets to start the week in general. So we're going to talk about vegetarians, vegans, things like that. Then we're going to have a chapter 5 test at the end of the week. So make sure that you are, and again, don't worry about it. It's going to be super easy. All right. I will get you all the information, just like every other test we take in here that everybody worries about. And at the end, what happens? If you studied, you looked at the material that I gave you, you got an A. So I hope you enjoyed your first week of online learning. Hopefully I didn't add too much to your plate here, and looking forward to continuing on here. And hopefully I see you guys sooner than later.